Good morning. It's Amy Yamada here with my HOli Chat with Amy, and I'm so happy to have you joining me today. I just love this time of year. I just think it's such a great opportunity to really connect with people and reconnect with our loved ones if we don't stay connected throughout the year. Hopefully we do. And I also think of this time of year as the spirit of the giving season, which is why I created this HOli show, weekdays at 9 a.m. Pacific, so that I could give you the gift of deeply connecting with your ideal clients and yourself and your vision, everything that I'm so passionate about helping you so that you can create the impact and the income that you've always wanted. So before I get into my training for today, which is all about the biggest mistakes entrepreneurs make in sales conversations, I would love for you to go ahead and think about where you are in your journey in your business and what is your number one pain point. Like, just drop into your heart and be like, okay, what's my number one pain point? What have I been avoiding? What feels really challenging to me right now? And if you have a question in that area, I would love for you to post it in the comments section, because this is also a chance for you to receive free coaching from me so that I can help you move past the very thing in your business that is stopping you from achieving your highest potential. So if you have a question for me, this is a great time to post it below, so that during my HOli today that I can totally answer your question. And just know that when you ask anything, it's very likely that my answer will not only help you, but it will help others who are watching this either now or later. So welcome, Olga, Margarita. So my question is, what is your question for me when it comes to your business, sales, marketing? What are you up to right now in your business? So go ahead and post that below, and I'll go ahead and get to the training. Just wanted to say cheers to the holiday season. I've got my coffee with me this morning, and wherever you are in the world, I hope that you are really enjoying this season. I've been having so much fun. Just last night, spontaneously, I went with Ken and his kids to something called Snowflake Lane. So I live in the greater Seattle area, and in Bellevue, Washington, every single night from like the day after Thanksgiving till Christmas, they've got this thing called Snowflake Lane that has grown over the years, and they do a parade at 7 p.m. with like drummers and floats and costumes, and then they actually make it snow. It looks like real snow. It's an amazing experience. So we had a lot of fun doing that. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and jump right in, and if you're just joining me, go ahead and post any question that you have in your business. Like any question at all, go ahead and post it below. If for some reason I can't answer it, I will always be honest with you if it's not my area of expertise. And at the same time, oftentimes I find that I am able to help you one way or another. And I'm just gonna go ahead and jump right into the topic for today, which is the biggest mistakes entrepreneurs make in their sales conversations. So first of all, one of the things I notice is that when entrepreneurs are in their sales conversations, they tend to not sound like their normal fabulous self, like it's the same thing in marketing. And when I think about when I meet an entrepreneur, and then if I hear how they are in a sales conversation, they sound different. And that may be in their tone of voice. It may be in the words that they use. It might be that you can tell that they feel uncomfortable or not confident in themselves. And so one of the things I always like to encourage my entrepreneurs to do is to really just know that you are enough exactly as you are, and you get to be yourself, even in a sales enrollment conversation. When you can be yourself, like whether you're speaking one-on-one with a loved one or speaking from a stage or in a sales conversation, then it's just gonna be so much easier to break down any barriers between you and the person that you see as your ideal client. And you'll build a deeper connection with them. And this may take some practice over time. That's why role playing with colleagues and friends, like you can also reach out to people and just say, hey, I'm really learning how to up my game in my sales conversations, and I want to practice being authentic to me, And you can take them through a series of questions and make a recommendation of your offering just in a role play setting. And then just know that even when you're out there in the real world having conversations with prospective clients, it's all about practice. So even in your real conversations with people, every single time that you do it, it is a practice. So whether or not the person decides to say yes or no, just know that you've won because you've actually gotten out there and made an offer. So the first thing is all about being you and being your authentic self. And if you feel like you get uncomfortable as soon as you are in front of your ideal client, just take a deep breath and just be you. You know, like one of the things I love doing when I first have a conversation with someone for the very first time is just take a moment to connect with them, you know? And instead of, like, I think back to my kind of corporate days and how I felt a little bit more stiff and uncomfortable, and I was kind of breaking through that whole sales conversation experience. And now I just love that I've peeled back the layers, and I'll just think about how, you know, they're only a stranger until I've talked to them for a little bit, you know? So I'm just going to already treat them like a friend or a colleague or a client. And just when I get on the phone with them, I'm just like, hey, how's it going? You know, like I just bring that energy. So if any of you struggle with this part of the conversation, just getting things started, when you get on the phone call with them or on a Skype call or Zoom call, just imagine that they are someone that you deeply care about. Because hopefully you do deeply care about them just as a fellow human being, as a prospective client or not, and no matter what, being committed to making a difference for them. So be your authentic self. Now with that, the second thing I noticed is that which is in the same vein, is just the tone of voice changes when they're on the call with somebody. And it's funny because with my speaking experience, I even learned this about myself, because while I love being on stages, one of the things I realized is that if I ever got nervous before taking a stage, then on the stage, I would be a little bit like melodramatic, like, oh, it was just so amazing. And even though that's kind of my personality anyway, I was able to take it down a notch. Like I worked with some incredible speaking coaches, especially in this past year. Like, Amy, you don't have to be dramatic in your storytelling. You can be enthusiastic and be yourself, but don't feel like everything has to be so amazing, right? So not that you necessarily do that in your sales conversations, but it'd be great to know if you sound like yourself in these conversations when it comes to your tone of voice. So this is another thing that you can practice. If you role play with somebody, like it would be great to just grab a friend even today, or, you know, and actually record your conversation and really play it out like it's a real conversation. And then when you listen to it, notice your tone of voice. Notice your pacing in your call. You know, are you super rushed? Do you sound nervous? And then notice the tone of voice when you shift from maybe asking some enrolling questions to when and if you make an offer. So one of the things I've noticed is that sometimes people will be totally comfortable in asking questions about someone's vision. What is your why? You know, what would it be like if you achieve that goal? What will happen if you don't? You know, just these really great enrolling questions. And then as soon as they get to the point of making the offer, they go from being this confident person to, okay, so do you mind if I ask you about my offer that like they suddenly drop into this, I'm so uncomfortable that suddenly I'm not my confident self anymore. So it's really great when you can practice maintaining that confident tone of voice in the time that you make the offer. And what I recommend to my clients is that they actually make the offer in a form of a recommendation. So if somebody is coming to you, especially those of you who are coaches, and I always think of entrepreneurs as leaders in any capacity. So whether you're offering a product, a program, a service, or opportunity, just imagine if you really deeply listened to what they said they wanted, and at the point of the call or conversation where you wanted to make an offer, you could say, here's what I recommend for you, and here's why, and tying it back with their vision. Because they're coming to you for a reason, right? They're coming to you because they see something that you have and they want what you have. It's just a matter of you building a connection with them, building a relationship with them, listening to what their vision is, and then not being afraid to make a recommendation. There's nothing pushy about that. It's actually you being generous enough to hear what it is that they have to say, hear what's, holding them back from achieving their goal on their own or in whatever capacity they're going for it right now. And then if and only if, with integrity, you believe that you can help them get there, you can make your offer in the form of a recommendation. Now, if you're still uncomfortable around that, if it doesn't come through naturally, then don't do it. And what others will do as they are building confidence in this is that they will ask permission, but they'll still sound confident in their voice. So that can sound something like this. So if I was talking to someone named Tara, I'd say, Tara, based on everything that you've shared with me, what comes up for you is my Powerhouse program and retreat. So do you mind if I share with you what that looks like? So I still can ask permission in that point of the conversation, but my tone of voice doesn't have to sound like, oh, is it okay if I share with you what the, like as soon as you drop into that wishy-washy, I'm uncomfortable, I'm putting up a wall voice, then you've lost the connection. And when that happens, it's like you've already built this great relationship with this person, hopefully by that point in the call or the conversation, that by you asking permission, it shouldn't shift to this uncomfortable place. Okay, so I'm seeing some great questions come in, so I'm going to go ahead and take a pause and answer them. So welcome, Erin. Okay, Margarita says, hi, Amy, holiday greetings. How do you handle it when people respond to your offering with, I can't afford it or not afford it until next month? I know that I then speak into it, but how do I transform that? Okay, this is a great question, Margarita, and I bet that others have this very same question. So, of course, there are objections that can come up in a sales enrollment conversation, and it's simply a form of resistance. And what I get really excited about, like I'm one of those people who actually gets excited when people come up with resistance, because to me, that's telling me that they feel safe enough with me to be open and vulnerable. And I like to see that moment as a coachable opportunity, especially for those of you who are coaches. I know a lot of you are coaches out there. Excuse me, let me take a sip really quick. So when I'm thinking about, excuse me, I just took on my throat. When I think about in that moment, when they say something like, okay, well, Margarita, I'm sorry, but I just can't afford it. It would be much easier to say something like, you know what, I totally understand. Why don't we stay in touch and we can reconnect in a few months or in 6 months, right? It'd be much easier to say that. At the same time, if you've taken the right steps to ask them questions to really understand where they are right now in their life, in their vision, where they want to go, what their obstacles are, then they've already said how much they want what you have. And it's just a matter of you standing for their vision and using it as a coachable opportunity. Now, the key thing is to not be pushy. Like I never want to be pushy. I never want my clients to be pushy in their conversations with their potential clients. So instead, I always lead with compassion. Always lead with compassion and with integrity. Excuse me, sorry. So in that case, Margarita and others that are watching right now, when I say lead with compassion, it can sound something like this. If somebody says to me, I can't afford it, the first thing I do is I drop into my heart. I feel them, I feel what it's like to feel that. And especially if you know what that feeling is like, I always find that the people we connect with are on some level a reflection of ourselves. So I can relate to that. I remember what it was like when I first stepped into a program that I couldn't afford, So it sounds like this. So I'll just use the name Tara again. For some reason, the name's coming up. So I'd say, you know what, Tara? First of all, I totally understand. Like, I know where you are right now. And then I may even share a story. So remember, stories connect. So the stories can be used anytime throughout the conversation. And you can bring together a short story about, if you can sincerely relate to what they're talking about, you can share with them the story of where you were in that moment that relates to them and how you overcame that moment. So for example, I've shared with multiple people about when I first stepped into my big, my first high-end investment of a year-long program with a great coach. And I will actually go back to that moment and embody it, because that's what's going to build a deep connection. So I'd say, Tara, first of all, I totally understand. And I remember what it was like to be in a conversation or be on a call just like this. And I remember talking to this coach that I really felt a connection with. And everything that she said, I knew that I needed to get to where I want to go. And I did not know how I was going to pay for it. Like, honestly, I had no idea how I'd make this happen. And rationally and logically, it actually didn't make sense. At the same time, and this is where I drop in. This is like my golden touch of what I teach. It's all about deeply connecting with vulnerable statements. I call it a deep connection statement. So I drop in, I think about what they're in pain around, and I say the exact statement that I felt in that moment that I know they're feeling right now. So in that moment, like if I drop in right now, I can actually take myself back to that moment when I was on that call. And my deepest thought was, I know I need to do something. I have no idea how I'm going to pay for it, but this feels right. And I'm battling myself inside because I don't know what to do. I don't know how I'm going to figure it out. All I know for sure is that I have to do this. but I don't know how. So I would actually share with them some of my most deepest vulnerable thoughts of what I went through in that moment, because then it opens them up to, oh, thank God somebody understands where I am right now. She's been where I am right now and she's gotten to the other side. So I'll actually go there. Like, what I notice with a lot of entrepreneurs is that they don't go deeply enough. So in that part of the conversation, it still is on a surface level and it just doesn't go into the heart center. So when I drop in and go deep and I'm like, hey, I get it. This is where I was. These were my thoughts. And I understand where you are now. And then I say, here's how I overcame that. Now I'm very clear that just because it's my story doesn't mean that it will be their story in the exact same form. But what I'm showing them is what's possible. And what I'm showing them is that I have learned to make decisions that are in line with my vision versus making decisions that are in line with my fear. And so, Margarita, all I do is open them up to what's possible because I've been there. And in my case, and this is something that may help you, you can even share my story. You could say, I was talking to this woman, Amy, and when she first stepped into a program, she had no idea how she was going to pay for it. She really didn't. And logically and rationally, it just didn't make sense. But she knew she needed to do something. So here's what she did. And this is what I tell them. Here's what I did. Is I just decided if I can just come up with that first payment, just that, if I could just focus on the present moment, what is the present step? I don't have to know every step, but if I could just figure out the present step, how can I come up with this initial payment? And if I can just say yes to myself and this coach and put down this initial payment somehow, then I'll have another month, because thank God they have a payment plan. I'll have a whole other month to problem solve and figure out that next month's payment. So each month I will take it on as my stretch challenge and I'll make it happen. So does that help? It has been a really powerful exercise for me and a lot of my clients to go deep, share a story of overcoming, and then see what opens up for them. So even when I have my own inner voice saying, oh, this is your story, Amy, they're closed, they're not going to say yes, I always take a moment, because I have my own, interpretation of how I see life. And I may be thinking in my head, there's no way they're going to say yes. I still have those moments, even though I've been doing this for a long time. And then I always think to myself, who am I to make a decision for someone and hold them so small? I am here to hold them high and help them get to where they want to go. And I will always stand for their vision. So when I go there, I just feel fired up. So I hope that's helpful. Okay. Hey, Anahita. Hey, Erin. Hey, Jennifer. Okay, Margaret has another, I love this. I feel great about being on the calls, but I'm noticing that I have so many calls scheduled. Yay. Yeah, that is a yay. But it can be exhausting in addition to my current schedule. I'm currently transitioning from an old way of doing for some reason I can't see the rest of that. Okay. So, Margarita, first of all, congratulations on getting all those calls. That's amazing. And I'm going to just, with so much love, share with you and others something that I heard from my business coach, Shanda Sumter, at a mastermind a couple of years ago. There was like maybe, 50 or 60 of us at this mastermind. And she came back from a break that we took, and she came back to the room, and she was fired up. And she said, if I hear one more person say that they're exhausted or tired, she was like pissed off, we're like, whoa. And I love that she went there, because I get that, I get that sometimes it's like, oh, I've got another call and, I'm so wiped out and I've got so much on my plate. Welcome to entrepreneurship. Yes, you can build up a business to a point where you have freedom, but there's a lot of work that goes into it when you're building that plane to take off. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot that goes into it. There's a lot of hard work that goes into it. And at the same time, it's a mindset. So anytime I myself find myself going to that, didn't stop me. Okay, sorry. That's what happens when, okay. Note to self, figure out how to not have a phone call coming in during your Facebook Live. Okay, so if I ever find myself having that thought of, I'm so exhausted, I'm so tired, I think about my perspective. So what Shanda said in that moment, she's like, if I hear one more person, like one more entrepreneur say they're exhausted or tired, she goes, this is not exhausting. She said, you're not digging ditches for 18 hours a day in 120-degree weather. You're not, she started giving us examples of what exhaustion is. And I was just like, wow, thank you. Thank you for pointing that out. It's all perspective. And when you're fired up about what you're doing and you're fired up about what you're up to in this world, take care of yourself, right? Make sure you're practicing self-care, and then just watch the mindset. Take a breather in between calls. I know the energy that goes into those calls, and then protect that energy. Just be like, okay, it's a new call. I got this. Even if you have 10 calls in a day, just think about how awesome it is that we live in a day and age where we get to make a difference for people all over the world. And then recommit to your why. Just think about your vision. Your vision is bigger than your fear. Your vision is bigger than your exhaustion. Your fear is bigger than life, So I just invite you to really think about that. The other part of it too, on the logistics side of things, is just look at what's working for you and what's not working for you in your time management. This is something that I continue to tweak because what got me here won't get me there. Right. So one of the things that has not been working for me this year is like you, I do have a lot of phone calls. I watch my energy and my mindset around it. And at the same time, I get to shift how I manage my time. So I hope that's helpful. Okay. I'm going to see if there's other questions. Melissa says, the only thing you need to ask to close is this what you'd like to do? Oh, that's great. Melissa, I love that. Is this what you'd like to do? Yeah. Too funny. Yes. Ask permission. Love that tip on connection. Yes, so Melissa, you're great. Melissa says, what you also did was reiterate what you heard. Yes, definitely. So I do that as well, Melissa. We're going to say, when I hear you share with me that you want this or that you're struggling with that. So making sure, so this is another thing that entrepreneurs don't always do. So on the flip side, this is what you can do, is to make sure that when you're making your offer, that you're tying it in with their vision. It's not all about you and your offer. It's about how your offer can help them get to their vision. What they are enrolled in is their vision. And they will be enrolled with your product, program, service, or opportunity if that is going to help them get to their vision. So yeah, what I heard you say was this. Erin said, I also like when you teach to tell your story. I understand. I have felt that way too. Yeah, absolutely. Golden nuggets. Yeah, drop into your heart. Yeah, so anytime you have a moment where you feel like you're in your head, this is something that I always just notice what comes up for me. Just notice. Like, this is where the personal development piece is so important. Like, I notice what's coming up for me. And so if at any moment I'm in my head about what I'm going to say next, I drop into my heart and just remind myself, I'm here to make a difference for this person. That's it. I'm not attached. I'm not attached to whether or not they say yes. What I'm committed to, what I'm committed out of my mind to, is making a difference for this person. They may never work with me, and I'm okay with that. Because I know that if I am this generous and this giving and I help enough people, a percentage of those people will say yes. And they do, and they have. And that's why I've built a multiple six-figure coaching business. I've got an incredible team now. I work with people all over the world. Now I'm launching this amazing retreat that people are going to be flying into, on this mansion on the ocean. Like, seriously, if any of you have been hearing about Powerhouse and it's resonating with you, or if my coaching style and my connection style resonates with you, ask me about Powerhouse. Like, it is going to be the most epic experience I've ever created. And it's all happening. Like, we're already getting on calls now every single week. People are starting to jump into this program, and spots are actually like filling up pretty quickly. So we could jump on these calls every single week. We share declarations. We focus on being a highly enrolling person and leader, and we're having massive breakthroughs. And then we're all flying to Florida in mid to late February for a 5-day, 4-night retreat where we're going to live like millionaires, who are making an impact and creating the lifestyle that we want. So if any of that resonates with you, I'm telling you, Powerhouse is going to be freaking epic. I've got Olga Plastino flying out there. We're going to capture the whole experience. And some of my favorite entrepreneurs on this planet are coming. And you will be surrounded by highly influential women entrepreneurs. So I just have to share this because I can't even wait. I'm so excited. Awesome. Takes patience, but not everyone going to close right there. Very helpful. Yeah. Yes. Oh, thanks, Erin. She says, do not disturb, works to block calls when I'm live. Thank you. I will do that. Anahita says, the mental resistance is exhausting. Oh, funny. Yeah. So, hey, Maureen. Hey, Carrie. Hey, Orchid. Yeah, so this is a good chance to, if you have any questions, I would love for you to go ahead and comment and ask your question below. Like, especially if you think about, for those of you who are in sales right now, if something keeps coming up in your conversations, like, I love Margarita's question about, what do you say when somebody says, I can't afford it? So if that's your question, you just joined, go ahead and watch the replay of this. But if there's anything else that you feel is coming up for you, go ahead and post it now. Okay, another tip that I was going to share. that is about like another biggest mistake entrepreneurs make in sales conversations is that they are not clear and confident about their offering. They are not clear or confident about their offering. So even yesterday, I was on my group call with my powerhouse women entrepreneurs, and I was having them go around and share what they love about their offering, right? This was a fun exercise because it's all about enrolling yourself first. When you are highly enrolled in what you're up to in the world, it becomes much easier to talk about it, and people are clear about what it is you're offering, and they can feel that excitement, and you know how valuable it is. So when they were sharing with me like what I love about my offering is, and this is something that all of you can do as well, I noticed that there were some that were a lot clearer than others. And for those who weren't clear, I was helping them to really hone in on what it is that they are offering. Because if they're not clear, then whoever they're talking to is going to be confused. And you've probably heard the quote, "A confused mind never buys." So being clear in your offering is so important. So one of the things that I do myself and I have my clients do is to create a one sheet on your offering. Like this is something that I did for many years in the media, when I worked in the media for about 15 years. Anytime we'd create a new offering for our advertisers, like a sponsorship, for example, we would type up a one sheet, like just pull up a Word document, give it a title, what are the benefits of your offering, and what is included. And just be so crystal clear, because if you are not clear, you might have like the most amazing product or service or package, but if people don't get it and it's not landing with them, then something in your communication is not coming through. So yeah, make sure that you are clear and confident. And if you don't know if you are clear or confident, then connect with one of your colleagues or friends or myself and just say, hey, can I run my offering by you just so I can see if I sound clear and confident in my offering. And myself or my team or one of your colleagues will tell you, and just be willing to accept honest and direct feedback. Like just be open to it. Just say, do you get what I'm offering? And then stop talking. Like don't try to sell them on the fact that what you're saying is clear, okay? It's super helpful. Like just be open to it, because it's just gonna make you better. Go over the time objection. Oh, great one. Okay, Erin. So when somebody says they don't have enough time, that tells me their words are a reflection of their belief system, right? I did a whole Facebook Live. If any of you did not see my Facebook Live from last Friday, I highly recommend watching it. I was like having major downloads from the universe, like major downloads. But okay, to bring it back to your time objection, what I was saying on Friday was that your life is a reflection and embodiment of your belief system, right? So when you're talking to your ideal clients and they're saying certain things to you, that is a reflection of their belief system. So if they believe that they don't have enough time, then there is a scarcity happening, and that is another coachable moment. So anytime an objection comes up, just remember, it is just embodying their fear. And it comes up in different forms. I was talking to Brita Aragon recently, and I was on her summit called, I think it was Turning Fear into Fuel. And she was talking, so I want to give Brita all sorts of credit on this. She was saying that people have their fear-based patterns that come up, and they just come up in different forms. For some people, the fear-based pattern or habit comes up in money. For some of it, it's time. For some of it is, I need to talk to someone, or I need to think about it, and it's like a trust issue. So whatever's coming up for them is their mask of fear. And if it's coming up with you, it's coming up in other areas of their life. So it's not about being pushy, about saying convincing or persuasive. It's just about really standing for their vision, because how they're making decisions here is how they're making decisions everywhere. And I believe in my heart of hearts that one of my biggest purposes here is to empower people to make decisions that are in line with their vision and not their fear. So if somebody's got a time objection, they'll say, so I would ask them questions. So how are you investing your time right now? And what are your core values? When you share with me your vision is this, are you doing these things that are in line with your vision to make it come to fruition? I just asked some more questions to get to the core of it. Okay, I get to check the time. Yes, it is time. Awesome. So if you have any other questions, go ahead and post them below. I see Orchid. So I see others posting. So go ahead and keep posting them. I'll come back on here later. I do get to jump on my dream team call with my amazing team. And if you found this helpful, I invite you to pay it forward by clicking on the share button and also writing a personal message of your biggest takeaway, because there may be someone in your circle of influence that could really use something from this Facebook Live, and you could make a difference for them today. So go ahead and click on share, put a personal note on it, and let's make a difference together. All right, sending you so much love. Thank you for the great engagement, the great questions. Happy holidays, and just know this is my gift to you. Holiday Daily Chat with Amy, weekdays at 9 a.m. Pacific. So if you're around same time tomorrow, I'd love to see you here with your great questions, and sending you so much love and happiness for today. Bye.